Good morning, students. Are you hearing my voice? Students, are you hearing my voice? Is it audible?
Is it audible?
Okay, right.
Okay, right.
So in the last class,
So in the last class,
students, right. So in the last class, we discussed up to the module 3 in the paper 1, social, economic and cultural history of medieval India. So up to 1707, from 1206 to 1707, right? So in the module 4, we are going to discuss about economic developments in medieval India, basically. So economical developments in the sense we uh, definitely go through with uh, agricultural and non-agricultural aspects, basically. Okay. So in between 1206 to 1707, uh, we have certain developments like uh, the agriculture had certain changes, where irrigation facilities has provided, and new certain new crops also grown between the 1206 to 1707. Okay, so from the Delhi Sultanate onwards. During the Delhi Sultanate period, many rulers like Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq, these were the three important rulers who encouraged agriculture basically, and these were the rulers provided certain irrigation facilities also. Okay, so during the time of these three, we have certain construction of canals during within the region of Ganga Yamuna. Okay, so in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, which is a fertile land, and there is perennial uh, water supply here. The water supply maybe you see in the throughout the year in the Ganga Yamuna Doab. Okay, so water facilities sufficient, and also land is fertile, and production is usually high. Okay, so in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq, who constructed irrigated canals and provided water to the fields, and as a part of providing water supply, water facilities, also collected some of the enhanced land revenue. Okay, so during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, we see um, land revenue is up to 50%, and during the time of Alauddin Khilji also, we can see up to the land revenue is up to 50%. Okay, so because they provided certain water facility, and also provided certain conditions, suitable conditions to grow certain crops. And also, as a ruler, these, particularly during the time of Ahmad bin Tughlaq, he also provides certain takawi loans to the farmers. Okay, so as a part of financial support, Muhammad bin Tughlaq provided these takawi loans, and he also, at that time, he also enhanced the land revenue. And during the time of Alauddin Khilji, he was not blindly collected the land revenue, because he also surveyed the lands, and also on the basis of fertility of the soil, he collected or levied the land revenue. Okay, so such scientifical uh, scientifical through the scientifical method, they collected the land revenue. Okay, so and number of crops as a part of agriculture, like the gardening, and gardenings like sugar cane, and also betel nuts, such crops introduced during the time of Delhi Sultanate. And also, one more thing we have to see as a part of agriculture here, uh, there is certain influence, the external influence on agriculture. Okay, so where the new crops entered during the time of Delhi Sultanate, and continued during the Mughal India. Okay, so and land tenure systems. When you see the land tenure system, particularly during the time of Mughal India, we have certain scientific method they use. Okay, like bandobast system, and because land revenue system, which is revived, and new patterns which started during the time of Sher Shah, and the same land revenue system was continued during Akbar the Great, and then the rulers also continued. And here during the time of Sher Shah, which is a episode, you see a short span of time, very short span of time. You see a small episode as a part of Mughal India, which provided a new methods basically. Okay, so new methods in agriculture and new form of land revenue systems, which introduced by Sher Shah, which carried by later Mughals also. Okay, so during the Sher Shah's time, the land was scientifically measured with certain measurement. Okay, so where the land was exactly measured here. Okay, so the same thing which is followed by Akbar, and based on the measurement and based on the fertility of the soil, Akbar collected the land revenue. Okay, so during the time of Akbar, the whole land, irrigated land, was divided into four categories. You are already aware. Okay, so one is Polas, Parauti, Chachar, Banjar. Okay, so these are the four categories of land which categorized during the time of Akbar, and based on this categorization, based on the land fertility. Uh, during the time of Akbar, he levied the land revenue. Okay, so land revenue in the two forms like the bando, japti, and other types of land revenue. Under the japti, where the production of the land may be calculated for the 10 years, previous 5 years, and future 5 years, and based on the based on the production, uh, they calculated the land revenue and collected from the peasant. Okay, so such type of scientifical methods in the land revenue, and also they followed scientific methods in the calculation of measurement of land, which followed in the time of Akbar. Okay, so which is as usually it may be applied in other rulers' tenure. Okay, so it may be it followed by Jahangir, and then followed by Shah Jahan, and followed by Aurangzeb. Okay, so these are certain land revenue systems which followed from the Delhi Sultanate and carried by Mughals. Okay, and then crop pattern. When you see the crop patterns, such a patterns also followed, because water facilities is abundance. Abundance of water facilities is you can find in Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, and some parts of North India, and certain parts of southern. And within these regions, certain crop patterns they followed, like mixed cropping system, and also double crop in a year. Okay, so sometimes they also followed three crops in a year. Okay, so and once they followed a wet crop, then followed by a dry crop. Okay, so such a modern form of crop pattern which followed during the time of Mughals basically. Okay, so you can see such a things from the Delhi Sultanate onwards. Okay, so and apart from that, we have certain glance over the agricultural practices, how they were they grown the crop, and how they cultivated till the land at that time. Is there any mechanized system they follow? Okay, so such things we're going to see. But during that time of Mughals, we'll see such mechanized practices, because during the Mughals, where Europeans entered in India, and the Europeans brought some crops, and also commercialization in the agriculture. Okay, so the same commercialization in the agriculture is followed uh, during the Mughals. Okay, so from Babar onwards, you will see Europeans like Portuguese, Dutch, and French in some parts already they settled, and already started certain settlements, and they brought some new crops to. They also introduced new crops in India, like chilies, and also indigo, such cotton, such commercial crops. Basically, these crops were grown only for the sale in the open markets. Okay, so open market system you never see in Indian society before the Mughal India. Okay, so during the time of Delhi Sultanate also, you didn't see such open market system selling of these crops in the grains in the market. Okay, so no open market system is developed during the time of Delhi Sultanate, but the open market system you can see in some parts during time of Mughal India, only by the Europeans. Okay, so Europeans followed the system, and the people who are living in the Mughal ruling areas also, regions also followed certain systems. Okay, so the cross crops vividly followed extensively, started growing during the time of Mughals, and some agricultural practice communities also developed. Okay, so where basically Indian society is a self-sufficient system, where the people can grow certain crops for their own consumption. Okay, so because in the self-sufficient system, they can grow the crops for their own consumption, and if any any material they require, they can exchange these crops with other required material. Okay, so such system which is already followed by Indian people, but during the Mughal times, these things were changed. Okay, so where agriculture is like a traditional method, where agriculture they only confined to groups from particularly within the Sudra class or Sudra Varna, where the land is majority of the land in the hands of upper Varnas, but the agricultural labor is from the Sudra. Okay, Sudra and Asudra classes. Okay, so Asudra in the sense certain agricultural labor class you will find. Okay, so agricultural labor classes, which was continued agriculture as their main occupation, agricultural labor as their main occupation. Okay, so these were landless people working in the lands of the upper Varnas or communities. Okay, so such system has developed from the Mughal India. Okay, so and apart from that, as a part of agriculture, you can see some agro-based industries as developed. Okay, so apart from the non-agricultural, as a part of agricultural economy, we'll see certain agro-based industries, which is we cannot say industry here. We can say as the factory. Okay, So agro-based factories has developed. Uh, One is the indigo-based system one, and next one is textile industry or textile factories has developed. Okay, so textile is one of the oldest agro-based industry, which is extensively developed during the Mughal India. Okay, so and because the crop cotton is extensively grown in central part of India and also western part, present Gujarat and Maharashtra areas, uh, and the northern borders of Deccan, which is sufficient cotton is they grow, and in the cotton growing areas these textile industries has developed, particularly in the Surat and Ahmedabad and various parts in Maharashtra, where the textile factories has developed. Okay, so apart from the textile industry, there are other industries like making of jaggery with traditional systems, where sugarcane also grow well-known crop at that time, and which is sugarcane is very suitable in growing in such a black cotton soil. So which is also confined to the central India. Okay, so such industries has developed, which is basically these industries depend on the agriculture. We better to say as agro-based industries and agro-based crops. Okay, so and then other industries has developed as a part of economy, non-agricultural economy. You can say various factories has developed by these Mughal rulers, and also some industries, particularly the karkhanas. Okay, so the karkhanas developed. The setup of this Karkara system has started from the Delhi Sultanate, particularly from the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Around Delhi, you see four Karkhanas. It means the uh, the industrial development of industries as a part of economy started from the Delhi Sultanate onwards, and carried by one or two Delhi Sultanates, and which is extensively carried by Mughal rulers. Okay, so which is industries or became a somewhat main source of income to the states later. Okay, so agriculture was main source of income at that time, and majority of the land revenue is the majority of the source of income to the state at that time, and gradually these industries also provided certain income to the states at that time. Okay, so the state also collected these certain taxes from the industries from the owners. Okay, so apart from that, uh, there are other developments in the economy, basically trade and commerce and transport system. Okay, so all this we can going to see in the module 5. Okay, so as a part of module 5, we'll start with trade and commerce in medieval India. Okay, so trade and commerce for a longer distance, visiting of these merchants and traders for long distance, for a long duration, which is a new to Indian society at that time, because Indian society is a some of a traditional society, having some superstitions and some of the blind beliefs in the society. where the Hindu society believes such things, where as a Hindu uh, cannot cross such a ocean or seas, and going away from the family is somewhat treated as a sin, and such beliefs you see as a part of Hindu society. But this was broken with the Arabian travelers and traders and merchants, because like Arabian Nights, you are well aware Arabian Nights and Arabian traders, they can visit very longer places. They can visit new places for longer duration. They can stay at longer duration away from the families, are common for the Arabs and Turk merchants. But the Indian merchants has no such criteria and such practice. Okay, so which was introduced by these Arabian traders, Arabian merchants, visiting for trade, for new places and staying for long duration away from the family, which is a new practice introduced within the medieval India. Okay, so started these practices started with the medieval India. Okay, so where the trade and commerce, which is such type practice is somewhat advantage to this development of trade and commerce. Okay, so this type of system has developed in the medieval India, and which given rise to these external trade. Okay, so because India is a self-sufficient economy, and they only grown the crops or keep these any material for their own purpose. If any required material is there, they can exchange them, exchange with those material. Okay, so in those days, particularly, there are certain required material for them, because everything is they don't have every material or every required material with them particularly. So they definitely have the required material. For the required material, they definitely depend on the others. Okay, so this dependency given rise to the external trade. Okay, so as a part of the external trade, these Delhi Sultanates and Mughals have the external links with other parts of the world. Okay, so because already Arabs and Turks entered in India, and frequently they have relation with the Central Asia, and they are exchanging the goods from one place to the from Indian subcontinent to Central Asian places. Okay, so which given rise to the system of imports and exports. Okay, so and at the same time, if trade should be followed, there must be a better road system. Okay, a better trade routes must be there. So you can aware that during the time of Delhi Sultanate, nearly 5 to 6 routes has developed. Okay, so one important route is uh, from Delhi to Devagiri, which is already created during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. When he shifted the capital from Delhi to Devagiri, which is became route, a main route from Delhi to Devagiri. It means connecting the northern and southern Indian territories. Okay, so where and one more system we have to be highlight here. the development of sarais. Okay, so development of sarai is one of the important system which developed from the Delhi Sultanate onwards, particularly Jalaluddin. During the time of Jalaluddin Khilji, the postal system has developed, and sending messages from one place to the another with RSS has started, and the construction of sarais also started. Okay, so on the sides, on the sides of these routes, particularly these land routes, uh, sarais were constructed in a frequent with a frequent distance. And sarai is a multiple place, multi functional place, where sarai is used as a rest place, sarai is used as a clock room, and sarai is used as a postal uh, delivery place. Okay, so these sarais were having the multi functional usage, and these sarais became advantage to these such trade routes, where the traders and merchants can take the rest, and they can have certain security there. Okay, so they can easily move from one place to the another without any fear, because they can get the sufficient water and food at the sarais. Okay, so the system of sarai started from the Delhi Sultanate onwards, which constructed besides the land routes. Okay, so due to this development of sarais, the trade routes had certain encouragement. Okay, so the trade has developed during the Delhi Sultanate, and also extensively developed during the time of Mughals. Okay, so as a part of these trade and commerce, you see nearly five to six trade routes in the Delhi Sultanate, and during the time of Mughals, number of routes you will see. One is the Grand Trunk Road, which is from the Lahore to the Delhi, which is developed by Sher Shah Suri. And during the Sher Shah Suri, you see nearly four to five important routes which connecting four sides of four corners of Indian subcontinent. Okay, so such a type of development in the transport system has started. And when you see the means of transport, as a part of means of transport, you see bullock carts at that time is important transport system, and carrying the goods with donkeys and horses also important means of transport, and carrying goods from one place to another manually also another important transport. Okay, so these are the important transport system we'll see in detail while moving with the syllabus. And another one is another important concept is trade in centers. Okay, so trade centers are important centers were developed with this Delhi Sultanate, and during the Mughals, you see number of trade centers where particularly trade as concentrated. Okay, so on the in northwestern part and northern India, Delhi, Lahore, Agra, and in the eastern part like Kasim Bazar, and many number of trade centers you see. Okay, so where these were became a center of attraction, where carried the number of trade, and these cities and towns had these trading cities and towns had well connected with other places of the world and other places of the Indian territories, and these trading centers are well connected with certain ports also. Okay, so seaborne trade also developed from the Delhi Sultanate onwards, and it's extensively followed by Europeans during the time of Mughals. Okay, so and one more thing we have to discuss is trading communities. Okay, so trading community is a a separate communities developed during the Delhi Sultanate and Mughal times, because uh, in earlier days, we have one or two communities like Shaukaris and Komatis in the Telugu speaking lands and Banyans, like such trading communities you see. And apart from these, a new communities has occurred. New communities has emerged during the Delhi Sultanate and Mughal times. Okay, so where trade became a important occupation, and a number of communities observed this making of the trade and merchant. Okay, so before that we have the guild system. You already aware, guilds nearly you see 18 types of guilds. Each guild have a separate occupation, and the occupation was followed by the number of people, a group of people, which better to be called as a guild. Okay, so this guild system is somewhat aware within the early medieval times and later ancient period. Okay, so gradually the guild system is decline, and trading communities has emerged. Okay, so new trading communities has emerged, and sometimes these trading communities had certain assistance from other communities like dalals. Okay, so dalal is a important trading community which is developed in the time of Delhi Sultanate and Mughals, where these were a community followed the foreign exchange. Okay, so because you see some cosmopolitan culture during the time of Delhi Sultanate and Mughal times, where people from number of other external parts entered in Indian territories and settled here also. Okay, so whenever a new merchant or a new person from the other parts of the world entered in India, they they have to be exchange their own currency. Okay, so the money exchange system, which is carried by a, a separate community, we call as the dalal. Okay, so the dalal community has started within this range, within this tenure. Okay, so another one is the monetary and monetary system, where the banking system has started, uh, like the system of banking has started, which is carried by some of the guilds. Okay, so apart from Okay, so apart from these, we also have some of the things about the advent of European companies and establishment of trading centers. Okay, so all these we can have a detailed description while moving with our syllabus. Okay, students, are you hearing? Are you hearing clearly? Please respond. Are you hearing clearly?
Clearly?
If you, yes, if you have any problem with my voice or my video, you can inform me so that I will adjust my volume and video, right?
Okay, sir, everything is fine.
Little bit. Please say, is there any problem with my voice and video?
No, sir, everything is fine.
Voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyhow, I have to end my class now. And we have another class today. I will take later, and I will send you a link again. Okay. So students, thank you very much. I am ending my class now. Okay, I will meet you in the next class, right?